It is February 5th, 2019. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, SmackDown Live edition. Mr. Matt Morgan, Raj Giri. This felt like the SmackDown of old tonight. Everything felt like a repeat, even down to that opening segment. What did you think of the show overall, Matt?
Do you mean repeat as in bad?
I just felt inessential. If you missed tonight's show, would you feel like you missed anything? Because even Becky versus Triple H, we saw that last night. Okay, a variation of that. Sorry.
Yes, but still, when his music hit, it was exciting. It was cool. It was different.
High point of the show.
But yeah, other than that, they didn't really move from there.
Yeah, it was tough.
I thought this whole show was skippable after the Daniel Bryan promo. I thought Daniel Bryan was entertaining. It didn't really say anything, but it was entertaining. I thought the Becky segment was probably the highlight of the show. After that, I felt like it just kind of went downhill. This was the problem I said a couple of weeks ago with the Elimination Chamber. They just announced everyone in the match as opposed to having qualifying matches. None of these matches have stakes. The women's Elimination Chamber, they just declared themselves instead of having to, wrestle or do something to get in. And so they declare themselves, and then they have a pointless match on the show that doesn't mean anything. So you just have a bunch of matches that don't mean anything. And if you haven't had your wrestling fix, fine. But there's no story. There's no Eric Bischoff always talks about SARSA on his podcast, which is story, anticipation, reality, surprise, and action. There's none of that except for action.
Yeah.
We opened up tonight with Charlotte Flair coming out, and I'm curious to get your guys' take on this. So Charlotte was basically saying, hey, if Becky can't compete, I'm good to go. I'll have a match against Ronda. It's all good. Becky came out through the crowd. Triple H came out and confronted her. Triple H dismissed Charlotte, said, Charlotte, this does not concern you, and then proceeded to have a face-off with Becky. You may go now. Yeah, Matt, do you think this made Charlotte look like an upper mid-carder?
Yes, this was a reversal. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
It was a reversal of Stephanie McMahon dressing down Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, every other power player in WWE history, and God forbid an uprising talent. And this was the same damn thing, just a male doing it to a female this time. I didn't like it. I never like when they do that. You don't jump wrong. It does concern her. Of course it concerns her. She's next in line if she can't wrestle. Of course it concerns her.
I just sometimes feel like the writers or Vince just should be like, if this were Steve Austin and The Rock, people we treated like stars.
Stick to that logic. That needs to be their new mantra. Would I write this for Rock or Austin?
Right. And I know people are going to jump and say they're not Rock or Austin, but that's because no one's treated like that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, just think about what would I just brush Rock off and tell him to go to the back that he may go now. You would never do that. No. You wouldn't do that.
In the defense, he would light them up if they even tried, Raj. So that's something some of these talents need to start thinking about.
Right. And forget Rock and Ross, even Brett and Sean, and any of those guys, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't just walk out.
Can you imagine Vince, like nerdy announcer Vince, who still hasn't really announced to the world yet that he's the owner of WWE, turning to Bret Hart and saying, this doesn't concern you, and totally jabrone him and box him out and continue the promo with Sean or whoever. It would never happen.
Right.
Yeah. I thought Charlotte felt like mid-card Miz tonight.
And I felt almost she was like trying too hard because she knew she was going to be dismissed. Like she was... she just didn't feel natural heel in this. Like she felt like she was overdoing it a bit.
Yeah, it was a little chalkboard scratchish, a little bit here and there with it, overselling the knee thing and screaming and
right.
So we had that Becky with Triple H tonight. I like that better than Becky with Steph last night. Like I said, I thought this was the high point of the show when they got in that face off, and then she smacked Triple H.
Hey guys, there's something to be said though about the uncomfortability of a face-to-face that close. Especially, I don't know why, between a man and a woman. I give her credit. When Triple H got right in there, she was right there, like nose to nose. Like right up on him. Like you would in a real fight. Like I know I would if I want someone to punch me.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like invading that personal space that we're supposed to. We have this invisible force field between us as wrestlers. It's about a foot, 6 inches to about a foot. And if you break it, they say you look like a wuss if you do not have physical conflict between one another and punch one another at that point, if there's a heated exchange. But she's been able to do it in a way where I'm uncomfortable watching, going, okay, this feels real a little bit.
I thought it was great. A lot of tension.
She holds it. She holds it really well.
Loved when she was smiling at him. She took it from intensity to just sort of, I think she clearly got the better of that interaction with him. I think, look, she's the hottest thing right now, and I'm going to put this out there in the chat room. Okay, so we said last night, opened Raw, SmackDown in the same week. She opened SmackDown, Raw, and SmackDown in the same week. Right. Who was the last person to do that? Maybe John Cena 10 years ago?
Wow.
I mean, that's just a guess, but I can't remember the last time that we had a superstar be the focal point of 3 opening segments on the main roster television.
Not for both shows.
Yeah. I mean, and they know it. So in response to the ratings, Raj, you, Wrestling Inc. wrote about this today. Ratings are down across the board. I believe Meltzer said their WWE is going to be taking some risks, trying some things. They're trying to figure out why. The company knows Becky is the hottest thing they got going. So they're clearly putting her front and center. And good for her. It's about time.
Yeah, I mean, she hasn't moved ratings yet. But you know, I think part of that is just the show is just so long that even if there is a hot character, I don't know if you're going to convince fans to sit through a 3-hour show for, you know, something they haven't seen before. I don't know, you know, in SmackDown, I feel like it gets hurt by Raw being so long the night before that you don't have, you know, you're not left wanting more. But yeah, ratings are down a lot from last year. They're down 18% for this week. Raw at least was.
What seems to be going on with the Becky? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Becky thing, guys, to me is that she's hitting a home run, and as far as fans go, we're all giving A+ on everything with her pretty much for the most part. We're excited because of her for the most part, and we're going to watch, though, no matter what. My question is, when does it get to the point where she's bringing new people over to watch the show? Is that even possible nowadays? Is my next question.
Yeah, that's what I wonder.
Because we're watching somebody, say what you will, guys, we're watching somebody maximizing their potential at the moment, maximizing a crap, no offense to them, but crap storyline and crap story writing sometimes. And the organicness of her overness, if you will, is very real, okay? And it's still not bringing people over that normally wouldn't watch the show.
Right.
So what do you do?
Yeah, you got to change the show around. You got to, you know, they've been doing the same formula for like 20 years now. You need to freshen it up. Like, I think a wrestling fan from the 90s that stopped watching will probably turn it on today and be like, wow, they're still doing this. And it just looks like that product with less charismatic stars because they're not given the opportunity to do anything.
That assessment of what someone from the 90s who hasn't watched it in a while comes back and sees it now would say. I agree with that. They would say that.
I think they need like 4 Beckys right now to hold down both brands. I mean, it's just, there's not that much that's interesting.
I wonder if that would that get a person that normally doesn't watch to watch?
Well, we see what happens with, I mean, you saw Mustafa Ali, right? Pin Daniel Bryan like a month ago, like is just basically getting destroyed every week now. I mean, he didn't get destroyed, but you know, he's losing all the time. It's like WWE is in a rush to turn everyone into Dolph Ziggler, just make him normal and not be a superstar like Braun Strowman. And when I say Dolph Ziggler, I don't mean him personally. I mean how they push him and they bringing him down. And anytime they get some steam, they bring him down. And they just do that with so many talents that it's hard for anyone to be special.
Yeah. At this point, they got to do something. A case in point, the segment that had the misfortune of following this was Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev, 2 guys that lost to R-Truth last week, teaming up as a tag team to go against Gallows and Anderson. I thought this was a good match. I'm glad they got a win in the first time together as a tag team, but the pacing of this in the context, I don't know, Matt, what did you think of this?
My volume's going to change a little bit. I apologize to the listeners. Good. I liked it, but you're right. The pacing was off.
Yeah. Raj, what can they do? What can they do to follow up a hot segment like Becky and not have it just instantly fall into the shadow?
You know what they do back in the day? Back when Nitro, you start off with a super hot, high-flying match, or like the cruiserweights or something. You start off with something hot. When the crowd's going, don't just bring them down right away. Start off with something high. The cruiserweights, they're doing nothing on 205 Live. No one's watching that show. Incorporate it into SmackDown and give them something.
Muhammad, what's his name?
Mustafa Ali.
Mustafa Ali, bring that cat out there.
Yeah, I mean, even if they put the Page trailer segment before this match rather than after it, I think it would have just given it a little bit of a break. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's tough. So Gallows and Anderson, man, how must these guys be feeling at this point? They've barely been on TV. They get this match. They lost to a tag team that was just put together for this.
Annoyed, frustrated, annoyed. Done. They did exactly what they were told to go do, you guys. They went out to a foreign country. They went to Japan. They got themselves over. They come back, and WWE was not ready for them. They just signed them because they're talented and everyone told them to. But they don't have plans in place for these guys.
Yeah, they're in creative purgatory. Like, they'll, when they need a tag team to kind of put in for the champs to beat, they'll call them up, and then they're off of TV, once that program's over.
When are their deals up, Raj?
So when did they start? 2016?
Yeah, 3 years ago, thereabouts.
So it's 3 years. So it's probably up in like April.
They seem like a logical choice to make the jump to AEW.
I hope
it's a risk.
If they've made their money, yes. I hope they go and they made their money first.
Yeah, you're to jump ship to something that hasn't had a show yet. That's a risk. They got a billionaire behind it, but it's a risk.
It is.
Have to ask
it's almost like you try to re-sign for a short-term see if you could get a 2-year deal, stick around, and then see what AEW becomes, and then risk all that money and everything, because chances are you're going to get a good deal from WWE right now. If AEW doesn't work in 2 years, and if they fail, WWE will get them back at pennies on the dollar, dimes on the dollar.
Yeah. So Rusev won that with a super kick to Anderson, pinned him for the win. They won. After that, Mustafa Ali promo.
Real quick, did you guys see the articles on Rusev and Lana on Lillian Garcia's podcast?
No, what did it say?
Now, Rusev he just seems like frustrated as hell. He's talked about how he's tried everything. He's tried changing his look and tried approaching Vince, and how the Rusev Day thing was going over and they wouldn't do anything with it. And everything you're reading, a lot of times you're like, well, there must be a reason why they're not getting the push. Maybe they're late for work, or they're not coming up with ideas. Like there's a behavior issue.
Yeah.
It seems like there's none of that. And Rusev has no idea what's going on, and they just don't do anything with him.
Sometimes it's just because. Sometimes there's not enough room. Sometimes there's not enough, they'll say there's not enough time. But when you have something organic like Rusev Day, I'm sorry, writing team, I keep getting on y'all. I don't even know you guys, but I have no one else to point the finger at because it ain't the talent's fault. He went over and got himself over. One of the hardest things to do in 2019 for a professional wrestler is to go out and get over as a babyface. In an industry where we let the cat completely out of the bag now of it's a work between good guy versus bad guy, and people to emotionally invest in a good guy 9 out of 10 times can feel silly doing that, right? So it's even harder to make someone root for the good guy, which the guy goes out and does.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if we were at peak Rusev Day right now, it would be the second hottest thing on SmackDown after Becky Lynch.
Yeah, instead of going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, how much of it was really for the character and how much was it just fans having fun, but who cares? Go with it. Try to make it. Try to, transition that to the character, and try to, get them to shine instead of just trying to kill the whole thing.
Now, admittedly, did you remember when we talked about this? And I would say this to you, Raj. I'd ask both of you guys: do we think this is the fans cheering him, like legitimately, or like in on the joke? See what I was doing? I was still stuck in the WWE bubble world of thinking and over-analyzing shit instead of just going with what you just said. Isn't the name of the game entertainment? Make somebody feel something, an emotion, to emote one way or the other. So if they are laughing or they are giggling or they're not, and they are serious, it doesn't matter. It's a reaction. A really top-notch reaction. Shut the F up and get out of the way and let it continue and flourish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Rusev Day, I don't know why it connected. To me, it reminds me, I mean, it's so stupid. It's brilliant. It's silly, like out of something, out of an 80s or 90s cartoon villain, the idea that he just declares Rusev Day, Aiden comes out and sings a song. But it worked. Him singing the song for Lana.
It was a fun duo. The crowd was into it. Even though, I don't know if they would have passed a 205 live test at that point, but,
fine.
The fans were into it and try to put them in a hot feud to take them to that next level. But we see that time and time again. Someone's getting over and they cool them off.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's frustrating.
Hey, maybe there's hope. Maybe Nakamura turns on him before Mania. Aiden English comes out and saves the day. And that's what was Rusev's quote from the interview. He's like, I don't know why they broke me and Aiden up. It seemed like it was working.
Yeah, but anytime you go back to something, it's just never the same, right?
Usually not.
Yeah.
It's very strange. And I feel like we're just bagging on everything here, but Mustafa Ali, that promo tonight, a week or two ago, remember got that awesome promo shot on the street? It looked like film.
Loved it.
Right.
Yeah. And then tonight we're back to handheld camera. Randy Orton's looked much sillier by comparison. Randy sitting there talking about this devastation and trying to come across as really evil and sinister in like a brightly lit room with that red backdrop just looks stupid.
You know what? A lot of these promos too, they start off like it's something from a fortune cookie. Like they're, it's like not something you'd say normally. They'll be like, they say that it's not how much you make, but how much you save. Like it's like not natural. No one talks like that.
Dude, it was like my first stuttering promo. Vince was on the opposite side of the camera. Okay, you guys hear me? And he would have me look off, like not look into the lens like this, but I'd have to be like this. I don't know if you guys can see me. My eyes are facing this way. And
yes.
His hand was over there, wanting me to stare at his hand the whole time. And I'm going, tonight, Matt Morgan takes years of aggression out, blah, 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 blah. And I remember going, with all due respect, that's not how, you would really talk in real life, though. So why am I doing that here? You say you sprinkle reality into this and don't play wrestler, Mr. McMahon. I feel like I was just playing wrestler right there. But you couldn't really give me an answer.
Yeah.
Right. And how they have people standing watching the monitors backstage or sideways and, kind of looking up to the side. It's so unnatural. And to me, they might think it looks better for the camera, but for me, it takes me out of it because it looks so unnatural. And it's like, why does this scene look weird? And it's like, oh, yeah, no one watches a screen like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So Randy versus So Randy versus Mustafa was, I think, the best match tonight. The end of that match was great.
Sure. That was a really good match.
Yeah. Randy won with the RKO.
Didn't like
but
that.
I think
it's a cool RKO.
Badass RKO, but I still rather, homeboy win.
Yeah, I felt like Ali could use it. He's kind of been, creative purgatory, as I said earlier. But I mean, this is how many times do we see this? You got a multi-person match and you just see the mix and matching until that show with no rhyme or reason. So this was just an example of it.
And then Samoa Joe attacked at the end of the match. I mean, they pulled this twice in one night, the post-match attack with the same guys.
Yeah, it was the exact same thing for no reason. They're attacking each other for no reason. It's not like they're trying to take someone out of the match or there's a story for why they're just coming in. They just go in and do the same melee, and they did it twice in the same show, which was just lazy.
It's like they're reminding you, hey, I'm part of this angle too. Don't forget.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the first episode of SmackDown. Like after the Daniel Bryan promo, I actually liked it, and I was like, "There's nothing really keeping me wanting to watch this show." And maybe something will surprise me, and it didn't.
You know, I figured it out. I figured out why I was kind of weak this week. Road Dogg was so busy because he was worrying about last night and that segment he was in. He just wasn't able to work as hard on SmackDown this week.
Yeah, there you go.
He crushed it last night.
He was great last night. Man, that segment with him last night, I mean, that was better than anything aside from Becky and the Randy Mustafa segment tonight.
Well, Mike, who's like that on the current roster that can just go out and go out guns blazing and get the crowd going? There's not many people that light up a crowd like he does.
No.
Do you guys remember that episode of SmackDown was around the invasion time when they just for the last segment sent The Rock and Mick Foley out there and they were just like bullshitting, like one-linering each other back and forth for like 20 minutes?
This wasn't the This Is Your Life segment, right?
No, it wasn't that. This was like post-invasion. Okay. They just sent them out there and it was like the closing segment was just them like giving each other a hard time and talking trash. But that's the thing. It's like guys now, I don't know who could do that. I think Daniel Bryan could do that. And this promo he cut tonight, I thought was really good. I thought it was interesting that they did the promo separate from the match.
Yeah, same here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when he came out, I assumed it was for the match. Then he did the promo because they've been doing that where the rest, all of a sudden some other wrestlers' music starts playing, and then they go to the ring, and it seems like they're going to interrupt the people in the ring, but they're not. They're just going out for their match. So that's what I thought was happening here.
And Rowan got some mic time.
Yeah, he's no Daniel Bryan.
Quoting Galileo. Oh.
Daniel Bryan, I mean, he's such a great promo. I think him, Samoa Joe, I think all the best promos in the company right now, unless I'm missing someone, are on SmackDown with Daniel Bryan, Becky Lynch, Samoa Joe, and the Usos. I can't think of anyone else.
I'm having a hard time getting over the new title belt.
Yeah.
You don't like it?
I get the heat. I understand it. I guess I know I'm not falling in line with it, but I hate it. It bothers me.
I agree with you. I'm one of those that if you're watching a scripted sporting event and there's a symbol of what you're fighting for and it looks like a joke, you make that to be it's a prop and it's a joke. It just takes a lot of the meaning out. Like if you saw the Super Bowl ring and they decided to go green one year, it's just a piece of kale. It takes the seriousness out of the game a little bit.
It does. I don't like it. I didn't like it when Jeff Hardy did it at TNA with his own title.
Right.
I didn't like it then. I don't like when anybody gets to put their own spin on the world title. I just think it's its own entity at all times. It's the ultimate trophy that everybody should be fighting for. And when you get it, you cherish the hell out of it.
Yeah. Although the Steve Austin Smoking Skull was pretty badass.
Yeah. Even then, I know it looked cool.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I remember the first time when Ultimate Warrior did it, when he changed the straps to like match his gear.
Intercontinental title, I remember he did. They did that too for him. He made it all white, and
and he changed it to like yellow.
Yellow. I thought it was cool, so I got to admit that part. I did.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I was like, the championship should be
the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's weird tonight? We didn't see any of the NXT call-ups, did we, tonight?
Heavy Machinery worked with Sanity. They worked a dark match.
Okay.
But yeah, Lacey Evans hasn't been around. EC3 got the big win over Ambrose. So, yeah.
And the news, I'm sure everyone saw, Dosovic and Knight are gone. Now it's just Otis and Tucker. No last names for Heavy Machinery.
No last names. Didn't we call that a couple of weeks ago? We said they're going to drop Otis's last name.
Yes.
Tucker Knight's kind of a cool name, so I was kind of surprised that they dropped that. But I bet you Vince sees them as like the Bushwhackers. They were just Luke and Butch.
Yep.
And he doesn't see them becoming single stars in the future, so have them as a tag team within one name, because Tucker is not a main event name.
No.
Yeah. We saw the Usos backstage hyping up. They're going to be on McMiz TV next week with Shane McMahon and The Miz. We got AJ Styles having some backstage words with Jeff Hardy about facing Daniel Bryan in the Elimination Chamber. Yeah. And then Carmella and Naomi are a tag team, and they faced Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville and the Iconics in a triple threat tag match for no stakes, because aren't all these women in the Elimination Chamber match already?
Right. Yeah, they're the 3 SmackDown teams. Naomi and Carmella, they did that backstage promo. And I know you guys don't have daughters, but I have an 8 and a 9-year-old. And they watch a lot of those like Bring It On movies right now, where it's like some cheerleading competition with the bad girl side and the good girl side. And Naomi and Carmella were like every heel bad girl cheerleading team in these movies that they're watching. It just kind of cracked me up.
The first Bring It On is legitimately a great movie.
It is. I second it.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you've never seen? Wow, I'm surprised. In fact, don't even let your daughters watch the sequels. The sequels are all trash. Just watch the first one. It's really, really good. Anyhow, so this match happened. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose won.
This match was terrible, by the way.
None of these women are winning the belts. I think the Iconics last the longest in that match.
I still like the Iconics, and I'm still rooting for them.
They've got personality, but
Corey Graves called it the biggest victory since WrestleMania 3.
Yeah, Mandy beating Naomi again. I'm sure they're going somewhere with that, because she's been beating Naomi on at every turn.
The most talented, by the way. You guys, everyone can say what they want about Becky and everybody else, but Naomi is the most talented diva they have, or female wrestler, I should say.
As far as pure athleticism,
oh my God, she's so good.
Yeah, I'd say probably her and Charlotte, or but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. After that, Andrade and Zelina addressing the WWE Universe, cutting a promo on Rey Mysterio. So again, building up the Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah.
That was. I think Zelina was awesome there. I think she's such a superstar, and she makes Andrade look like a superstar.
Yeah. And then Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan, non-title match. And what deja vu with this? So Rowan helped for DQ, grabbed Hardy. The match was a DQ. And then remember how they went the go-home show before the Royal Rumble? This was the exact same thing. Everyone in the Elimination Chamber came out one by one and just started beating each other up.
Reminding everybody, hi, we're all still in this angle, don't forget.
Yeah, and so you do a crappy DQ on Raw, which was last night on Raw. That DQ was one of the dumbest DQs I've seen in a long time, where the other tag team partner interfered, which was just stupid. And then you followed up with another DQ in the main event again. I just thought that was just lazy. And this match was just there, which is weird, because a year ago, if you told me Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy, that's like a dream match a year ago. It was just there.
Yes.
High point for me and many listeners of this podcast was, I believe, Corey Graves said something about something reducing carbon footprint. I was like, ooh, carbon footprint.
Yeah.
Like, Matt Morgan needs to get in on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But aside from that, and then Daniel Bryan was yelling backstage after. This was not a great episode of SmackDown, and SmackDown has been so good. Yeah. Typically better. I think Raw actually might have been better this week.
I'm bad luck.
Maybe.
Yeah, I thought it was a week of WWE TV. I wonder if they just kind of threw in the towel tonight because of the State of the Union. So
yeah, tons of overlap there.
No, man. That usually does take a little chunk out of the ratings, though. Not huge, but it does affect it a little bit.
Have you guys ever, and I'm going to say this, like, I don't think I've ever watched the State of the Union address live.
Nobody does. I'm in politics. Nobody does.
Yeah. I mean, whether I like the president or not, I don't think I've ever been like, ooh, I got to sit down and order pizza. It's like Oscar night, going to watch this live. No.
It was originated as a letter. It was supposed to be an official letter from our president. That was it. Coming over what's going on.
Yeah.
Now it's a drive-by victory tour.
So we'll see. We'll see what that does to the ratings tonight.
Yeah.
Nobody watches that. At least I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Last year.
What's that?
Last year, what usually happens is SmackDown is just way down in on where it ranked among TV shows, because all the news shows are on top, and so SmackDown will be like number 20 on cable as opposed to usually being in the top 5.
I did want to tune in, though, guys. I got to be honest. The wrestler in me, not the politician, wanted to watch it just to see like all the uncomfortableness in the room and what potentially could happen. So I was clicking back and forth.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious myself.
Yeah.
Drama writes itself.
So what else is going on? I don't even think we have to rate this episode of SmackDown.
AJ got physical. AJ's been dealing with a hernia, and so he got physical. Matt, do you know typically with a hernia what kind of recovery that is?
That could take a few months. It depends.
Like out of action in a few months?
It depends. Sports hernia, in the groin area generally. I've had that for 1 month and I've been okay. I've also had it for 6 months and lingered.
So you just worked with it?
Yes, you can work around it for sure. Yes.
Okay. So apparently that's what he's doing. So he's missing some live events, but he was in action tonight. He's going to be in Elimination Chamber. So
it hurts. Hey guys,
there you go. Seth Rollins.
It hurts.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, it hurts like hell though.
I'm sure. I get uncomfortable saying it.
It kills.
Yeah, I bet. No, wish him the best in his time of recovery. Just looking at Twitter, I think Becky Lynch, her tweet better than most of SmackDown, which was, "Hey Steph, be sure to ask your husband how his day at work was."
Yeah, her Twitter game is sound. She's got a strong Twitter game for sure.
How's Seth Rollins?
Also, Seth Rollins has got a back injury, so he's not going to be doing anything physical, I guess, for the next month. But yeah, he's fine for WrestleMania. It's nothing that's going to put that match in jeopardy. So,
and speaking of Mania, is there news about Dean Ambrose on WrestleMania weekend?
So Dean Ambrose, I mean, he'll be part of the WrestleMania week festivities. So when they said his contract expires in April, lately they've been saying, like Daniel Bryan's contract expires in September, but that's September 1st. And so like midnight of September 1st is when it expires. So I'm guessing his must run through the end of April. So he will be there for WrestleMania weekend. He's at the 8 a.m. signing on Sunday morning, which is the day of the show. He's the only one doing one. The Hall of Fame is the night before. So I have a feeling he's not going to be on that show.
It's the worst time. That's the worst time to get.
Right, exactly. Usually they put like a legend in, I would think, or like someone like that. But with Dean, I don't know. So he'll be doing stuff over WrestleMania weekend. He'll be there. The fan questions will be interesting, but I'm guessing he's not going to have a huge role on the show, or he would not be doing it that morning.
Yeah. Ooh. Quiet week, all things considered, compared to last week at least. Elimination Chambers.
The only other thing is that the SmackDown ratings and the Raw rating was, like I said, was down 18% from last year. Most of TV is down 5 to 10%. So it's down a lot more than TV, and a lot more from when Fox made the deal with WWE. So they really need to work, especially with SmackDown, on getting those numbers up.
Yeah.
I think they fundamentally don't understand why the numbers have went down so much. Like, I just don't think they get it. If they did, they'd be changing it, right? I mean, the new matchups, the variety, the new superstars. We've had new superstars that are largely treated like a joke so far. Yeah. The matchups are still just as repetitive.
Yeah, I mean, it's when I go to that Bischoff saying, that Sarsa, story, anticipation, reality, surprise, and action. Have some like good storytelling. Like, how would you script a movie? How would you, if this match was in a movie, how would you script it? Are you going to just have them beat each other the whole movie, or do you tell a story to finally get to that match and have it be an epic encounter by the time the story is told? Anticipation, reality. You don't have any reality right now. And surprise, you don't really see much surprise. So if they can start working on all those elements, I think they can. That's where they need to really make their changes, not new graphics or anything like that.
It's weird. They sent out a survey, WWE Fan Council, and the survey was all about Halftime Heat and the Worlds Collide tournament. Like, that's what they're researching right now. Did you guys watch Halftime Heat?
Yes.
Yeah. I think they should do more stuff from the Performance Center. I thought that looked pretty good for their first time broadcasting matches from there.
All right.
I mean, not perfect, but it was different. I liked it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. And it's not, and they're keeping with the continuity of TV, not the continuity of the tapings. I'll just say that without spoiling anything.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. Also, this Thursday is the AEW rally, the ticket sale event that's in Las Vegas. Lots of expectation that Kenny Omega will be showing up there. So there is that. So that's this Thursday.
Any truth to the rumors? AEW is going after a big signing currently in the WWE.
I saw that it's from an account that they've broken some stuff before. So I just don't see how they would do it with someone under contract. I mean, and WWE doesn't really have any big names that I know of that are not under contract that where it'd be legal to do so. So unless there was some weird contractual loophole, it seems like a really risky thing to try to tamper with, contracts with someone under WWE contract, even though WWE has done that before.
It could be Dean Ambrose, and they still be within their playing field of saying they're signing a big WWE star.
Could be, but even with Dean Ambrose, could they talk with him while he's technically still under contract?
They don't have to say that part of it.
Yeah,
they'd be stupid too.
Right. Well, Chris Jericho's often would talk about how when he was under contract with WCW and Vince McMahon flew him out, and there's all these guys who are under contract, and AEW, the day they were not under contract, it's announced, so they were working on it while they were under contract, so they could have talks, I guess, and not offer an official deal. I don't know.
You can have third parties contact one another.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. So that rally is Thursday. I'm sure Wrestling Inc. will have all the news as it breaks.
Coverage of that. The WWE first quarter results coming out. That should. I'm sorry, not the first. The fourth quarter of last year. And one interesting thing from that is we should know really how much they made from those Saudi Arabia deals. So. Oh
yeah, and they're going back to Saudi Arabia.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, no details on what it'll be called, but May 6th, I believe, is the date.
They're really testing my morality.
Not that much, Matt. If they really were testing your morality, it would be like, hey, Matt Morgan, Saudi Prince was a big fan. Want you to come out just for one entrance, one match. Yeah.
Dress like Sid Vicious and come out.
We shall see.
That's probably par for the course too. Yeah. You're probably right. That would be his guy.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anything else, Raj? I feel like we've hit a ton of stuff here.
Yeah. No, I think we got it.
Cool. Matt, anything you want to plug before we take this home?
No.
Okay, cool. So as Raj said, stay tuned to Wrestling Inc. Stuff on the AEW rally as it happens Thursday. The interview with Jeff Jarrett, I believe. Did that go live already?
That's going live tomorrow. And an interview with Conrad Thompson talking about StarCast 2 is going live on Thursday. So check those out.
Awesome, man. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. You can find me on Twitter at Glenn Rubenstein, where I tweet along live with WWE programming. And please, if you enjoy this podcast, leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Those 5 stars definitely help other people discover the podcast. Until next time, folks, I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.